You are walking home. It is after midnight on the Malay Peninsula, and the road runs between a banana grove and the river. The air is warm and wet and heavy with the sound of insects. A wall of cicadas and frogs so constant your brain stopped registering it 10 minutes ago. Then you smell flowers. Frangipani, the graveyard flower, the one they plant beside headstones because its pale blooms look right against the stone. The scent is rich, heavy, sweet in a way that sits in the back of the throat. You are nowhere near a cemetery. There are no frangipani trees on this road. But the smell is here, and it is getting stronger. Then you hear a baby crying. It is faint, almost too faint to hear. Your instinct says, far away. Your instinct is wrong. In the Malay world, when the crying is loud, she is far from you. When the crying fades to a whisper, when the sound thins to a thread at the edge of hearing, she is right behind you. Her name is the Pontianak. The word is a contraction of the Malay phrase perempuan mati beranak, woman who died in childbirth. She was human once. She was someone's daughter. She was carrying a child, and the child did not live, and neither did she. And the community that should have buried her properly did not. And now she stands on the road in a white dress with hair that falls past her waist, smelling of flowers that are turning to rot. And she is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen. And her fingernails are 6 inches long, and the sound of the baby has stopped. This is her story. Every culture has stories it tells after dark. Not fairy tales, not the ones for children, the other kind. The ones told in low voices, near the fire, when the night is too large and too quiet. Stories about what comes when you break the rules, when you wander too far, when you forget what your grandmother told you. These are those stories. Welcome to Folklore Reborn. This is episode 8, The Pontianak. The Malay Peninsula hangs from the underbelly of mainland Asia like a finger pointing toward the equator. Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Brunei, the Malay archipelago. 30,000 islands scattered across warm seas, connected by trade routes that have carried spices and silk and stories for 2,000 years. The Pontianak belongs to this world, and she belongs to its oldest layer. Before Islam arrived in the 13th century, before the Hindu-Buddhist influence that preceded it, the Malay peoples organized their understanding of the supernatural through a system called the Hantu taxonomy. Hantu means spirit. The taxonomy classifies hundreds of supernatural beings, ghosts, demons, goblins, undead, each with specific behaviors, specific weaknesses, specific rules. The Hantu framework predates all imported religions and persists beneath them. Islam added moral framing and prescribed recitations. Hinduism added hierarchies and categories. The Hantu survived both. Within this taxonomy, the Pontianak sits among a constellation of female spirits connected to pregnancy and death. The Langsuir is the ghost of the mother who died in childbirth, wearing green robes, a hole in the back of her neck through which she drinks blood. The Penanggalan is a flying, disembodied head, trailing its own viscera, a midwife who broke a sacred fast. The Krasu in Thailand, the Manananggal in the Philippines. Across Southeast Asia, the ways women die in the act of bringing life into the world have been given supernatural shape and sent back into the night as predators. The Pontianak is the Malay expression of this pattern, and she has one feature that no other spirit in the region possesses: the nail. An iron nail driven into the cavity at the back of her neck transforms the Pontianak into a beautiful, docile wife. She forgets her rage. She forgets her death. She becomes lovely, obedient, domestic. She becomes everything the culture says a woman should be. The nail cures her. Remember this. We will come back to it. A kampong is a Malay village. Wooden houses on stilts, latticed windows open to the humid air, packed earth paths running between compounds. At the village edge, banana groves with leaves broad enough to hide a person. Beyond the groves, the dark wall of rainforest. Between the last house and the first tree, a boundary. The safe world and the other world. The banana grove is the border. The Pontianak lives in banana trees. During the day, she is dormant, hidden inside the trunk of an old banana palm, invisible, inert. At night, she emerges. Her approach follows two signals, both of them inverted. The first signal is scent, the smell of Frangipani flowers, the graveyard flower, sweet and heavy and narcotic. It intensifies, and then it shifts. The sweetness curdles into the stench of rotting flesh, copper and ammonia and decay, the smell of a grave opened too soon. If the scent is beautiful, she is approaching. When the scent turns, she is close. The second signal is sound, a baby's cry or a woman's laughter drifting through the dark. And this is where the Pontianak is most dangerous. The sound follows the same inverted rule as El Silbon's whistle. When the crying is loud, she is far away. When the crying fades to almost nothing, she is within arm's reach. Your ears tell you she has moved on. Your ears are lying. The moment you relax is the moment you are in the most danger. She appears as a woman of extraordinary beauty, pale skin with a ghostly luminosity, long black hair falling to her ankles, a white dress, sometimes stained with blood you cannot see until she is too close, red eyes, fingernails that taper to points. She is barefoot. She is silent. She smells of flowers. The hair hides the back of her neck. Beneath that mass of black hair, there is a hollow cavity. In the Sundel Bolong variant from Java, the entire back is hollow. The long hair exists to conceal the physical evidence that this body is not alive. Everything about the Pontianak's appearance is designed to work from the front. She faces you. She is beautiful. She never turns around. The beauty is the weapon. It draws men closer. It is designed to draw men closer. And when the distance is zero, the beauty collapses. The nails extend into claws. The eyes go fully red. The floral scent becomes the smell of the grave. The mouth opens wider than anatomy allows. She kills by disembowelment. The elongated nails open the abdomen. She devours the internal organs. She targets men specifically, and she does not give warnings that are easy to read, because the warnings are inverted, and everything your body tells you is wrong. The Malay folk practice of never leaving laundry outside after dark comes from the Pontianak. She tracks by scent. She sniffs clothing left on the line and follows the owner's smell. The custom is not superstition, it is protocol. Do not give her your scent. Do not walk alone near banana groves at night. Do not mistake a beautiful woman on a dark road for a woman at all. Walter William Skeet documented these behaviors in 1900 in Malay Magic, compiled from fieldwork in Selangor during the late 1890s. His informants were precise, the taxonomy was precise, the rules were precise. The Malay peoples had been classifying the supernatural with the rigor of naturalists for centuries before any European wrote it down. The Pontianak was created by failure. When a woman dies in pregnancy, in childbirth, or within the 40-day postpartum period, the community has a responsibility. The bidan, the traditional midwife, performs specific funerary preparations: glass beads placed in the mouth, a hen's egg under each armpit, needles pressed into the palms. These rites are old. They predate Islam. They persist alongside Islamic burial practice because the community remembers what happens when they are skipped. If the rites are performed correctly, the dead woman rests. If they are not, if the bidan was absent or drunk or hurried, if the family was too poor or the death was too shameful, or the husband simply did not care enough to ensure it was done right, the woman rises. She becomes the Pontianak. This is the moral architecture of the legend. The Pontianak is not a random curse. She is not a demon that chose a host. She was made. She was made by the people around her, by their negligence, their poverty, their indifference to a woman who died in the act that their civilization depends on. The Pontianak is the bill of accountability. She is what happens when a society treats the death of a woman in childbirth as unremarkable, and the nail makes it worse. The nail is the legend's most famous detail and its deepest wound. A nail driven into the back of her neck makes her docile, beautiful, compliant. She becomes a wife. She forgets her rage, her grief, her death. She forgets the childbirth that killed her. She forgets the community that failed her. She becomes what the culture wanted her to be before she died, and the act that accomplishes this transformation is a piece of iron driven into her body, suppressing her will, penetrating her flesh, converting a suffering spirit into a domestic object. The feminist scholars who study the Pontianak, Cheryl Nicholas, Kimberly Klein, Alicia Izarudin, have read this with clear eyes. The nail replicates the patriarchal structure that killed the woman in the first place. The cure is the disease wearing a different face. The monster can be stopped, but the method of stopping it is itself monstrous. There is no clean resolution. There is no version of this story where everyone walks away whole. The city of Pontianak in West Kalimantan, the capital of an Indonesian province, was named for these spirits. Founded in 1771 at the junction of the Kapuas and Landak rivers, the settlement site was reportedly so infested with Pontianak ghosts that the Sultan ordered cannons fired for days to drive them away before the first buildings could go up. A provincial capital carries the name of a dead woman's ghost. The legend is embedded in the land itself. The first Pontianak film was released in 1957, a Cathay Karis production starring Maria Manado, and it is a landmark of Malay cinema. The Kuntilanak franchise, the Indonesian variant, has generated films across the 2000s and 2020s. She appears in novels, television, comic books, video games. She is one of the most recognized figures in Southeast Asian popular culture. But the Pontianak is not only a character in movies, she is a practice. In Malaysia today, in rural kampung communities where the forest still presses close to the last house and the banana groves still stand at the village edge, the folk customs surrounding the Pontianak are not historical curiosities, they are current behavior. Laundry is brought in at dusk. Iron objects are placed at window frames and doorways. The bidan still performs the funerary preparations for women who die in childbirth, and the preparations still include the beads, the eggs, the needles. Not because every family believes the Pontianak will literally rise, because the rituals encode a principle that matters more than belief: care for the dead, care for the women who die giving life. Do the work. Do not skip the steps. Do not treat her death as routine, because routine is how the monster is made. The Pontianak is the ghost of every woman who bled out on a birthing mat while no one came. Every woman killed by a husband or a lover. Every woman whose death was considered less important than the child she failed to deliver. She is grief and rage given a body. She hunts men because men built the system that killed her. Her hunger is not rational. She is not a revolutionary. She is a wound that walks. And if you stand on a road in the Malay Peninsula at midnight near a banana grove, and the air is warm and heavy and the insects are screaming, and the insects stop, and you smell flowers where no flowers grow, do not turn around. Do not listen for the baby. Walk. Walk quickly. And do not leave your laundry out. The old traditions say, care for your dead women. Do the work. Perform the rites. Because the consequence of not caring is still walking, somewhere, in the banana groves, in the white dress, with the long hair and the hole in the back of her neck, and the smell of flowers turning to rot. She is counting on the silence. Thanks for listening. Follow Folklore Reborn wherever you get your podcasts, and share it if you think these stories deserve to be heard. Every legend we tell here lives as a tabletop adventure you can play. Links are in the description. Next time, deep in the Russian forest, there is a man chained in a dungeon. He is skeletal. He is starving. He begs for water. If you give it to him, he will shatter his chains and steal everything you love. His name is Koshchei. He cannot die. His death is hidden somewhere you will never find it. The old stories were warnings.